An old leather diary was lying on the table, and suddenly, a photograph slipped out and fell to the floor. In that photograph stood a young man at the edge of a deep, Taravan gorge. One hand shielding his eyes from the sun. Behind him, an endless valley. In front of him, impossible mountains. His name was Samuel Okonkwo, and this one photograph would change everything, not just his life, but the lives of thousands. Samuel was born in a tiny village called Okpata, hidden in the eastern hills of Nigeria, a place so remote that the rest of the world almost forgot it existed. Deep gorges and narrow paths had cut the village off from the nearest town for centuries. Schoolbooks had to be carried by hand. Medicines arrived weeks late. Opportunity simply ended at the edge of the cliff. Every evening, by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, Samuel's father, a schoolteacher, would place his rough hand on his son's shoulder and say, "Samuel, these mountains are not walls. They are only mountains, because no one has decided to build a bridge across them yet." Samuel was 8 years old when he made a promise to himself. "I will be the one who builds that bridge." Years passed. At 16, Samuel taught himself engineering from old books and late-night whispers. He walked 20 kilometers every week, just to sit in a city library. People laughed. A poor village boy dreaming of becoming an engineer. That gorge has separated communities for hundreds of years. Who does he think he is? But every time doubt crept in, he heard his father's voice again. They are only mountains. Because no one has decided to build a bridge yet. At 17, he left home with nothing but a notebook full of sketches and a heart on fire. In the city, he washed dishes, carried bricks, worked nights, anything to survive. By day he worked, by night he studied, and on Sundays he volunteered at construction sites, learning from workers who never went to school. People called him crazy. Even his own relatives said he was wasting his life on an impossible dream. But Samuel never forgot. 15 years later, at the age of 32, Samuel Okonkwo had become a respected structural engineer. But he had never forgotten the village that raised him. One day, he took every single penny he had saved through years of sacrifice and went back home. The gorges were still there. The isolation was still there. But now, Samuel carried knowledge. He carried skill, and he carried a plan. He spent months studying the land. He drew a bridge that looked impossible, but this bridge was special. It was designed so the villagers themselves could build it and maintain it forever. He stood in front of the village council and said, "We are not just building a bridge. We are building hope. We are building a future where your children will never have to leave home to find opportunity." The village believed him, because he was not a stranger. He was a son who never forgot his roots. What happened? Nick spread far beyond Okpata. Samuel brought teams of engineers, but he insisted on training local workers. Every man, woman, young and old, who wanted to learn, was welcomed. They worked side by side in scorching sun and pouring rain. Every small victory was celebrated. The story traveled. Newspapers came. Videos went around the world. From America to Europe to Asia, people watched one man turning his childhood dream into reality. Money arrived from places no one expected. Engineers flew in from London and New York. Universities sent their students. It wasn't charity, it was recognition. People saw themselves in Samuel's story. 18 months later, on a morning when the sun finally broke through the clouds, the bridge was finished. The first person to walk across it was Samuel's father, now 90 years old. As the old man stepped onto the bridge his son had built, tears rolled down his cheeks. Behind him, the entire village followed. But the real magic was what nobody could see. In Los Angeles, a girl named Maria heard Samuel's story and decided not to drop out of school. Today, she is an engineer. In Manchester, a boy started a youth organization in his neighborhood. Today, it has trained over 3,000 young people. In India, Kenya, Brazil, Pakistan, everywhere, the story kept spreading. Samuel Okonkwo never set out to inspire millions. He only wanted to build one bridge for his village. But what he actually built was far greater. He built a bridge from despair to hope, from impossible to impossible. And right now, somewhere in the world, a child is staring at their own impossible mountain. If that child is you, remember this: mountains are only mountain is because no one has decided to build a bridge yet. The question is, will you be the one who builds the bridge? Thank you.